Anyone can be confident with a full head of hair, but a confident bald woman, there's your diamond in the rough.
Please introduce yourself.
Hi, my name is Bolele Polisa.
Could you tell us about your relationship with hair when you were growing up? What role did it play in your childhood?
Oh my gosh, my relationship with hair growing up was actually a beautiful one. It played a big role in my identity, funny enough. My mom always used to plait my hair. She used to tie it in like bows and all these colorful ribbons and all of that. It helped me become a very, very confident young girl. And to date, I still hold it true to my confidence, yeah.
What led to the big chop, especially because you're someone that had the relationship you had with hair where you're constantly styling and celebrating and feeling confident. What would then let you say, hey, let me get rid of it?
Bendigoa. No, man, I think what led to the big chop, apart from obviously following traditional customs, I had just lost my mom and I had to cut my hair. It grew back and then I just found myself then deeply getting into my grieving process. Because when she passed, I had then just gotten a new job. I was just following my dreams and I didn't give myself a chance to actually understand what had just happened. And 2 years after that, with my hair growing, a big afro, I decided to chop it because I wanted to be in touch with myself again and I wanted to form a new identity, if anything, outside of what my mom had created and what she had made me believe about my hair. Yeah.
We can clearly see it's grown back.
Yes.
Right? In terms of your mom,
yeah.
Do you now feel that to a certain degree, the hair growing back is still like her being a part of you because you guys had the relationship you guys had and, those moments where she was styling you, you cannot imagine a moment with hair where she wasn't present. What's sort of like the vibe now that it's growing back?
Yeah, definitely. If anything, it's even gotten to a point where I understand the spiritual role that my hair plays in her absence, because when she was around, she obviously had that physical role that she played. She helped me understand my hair. She helped me understand what it means when my hairline is receding, what it means when my hair is full, what it means when my hair is thin, and all of that. And I think, back then it was just the thing about aesthetics. And in her passing and in that journey, I then got to understand the spiritual aspect of it, the spiritual element of it. I see myself as a tree that's rooted in certain traditions and customs and values and beliefs. And my hair ultimately is a crown, the leaves that really just shed from time to time, that take different shapes in different seasons. And in understanding the role that she played with, making sure that it was always good, I always just feel and understand that connection that I had with her, even in the afterlife. I also just really then start to understand what I'm going through spiritually when my hair starts to act a certain way. So, yeah.
You speak about how you start to understand from a spiritual point of view. But what about the moment that you actually sat in front of the mirror and the clippers came, emotionally and mentally, how did that impact you?
I felt lighter. Because essentially I was carrying like a lot of weight, I was carrying a lot of weight, like spiritually, emotionally, mentally. And when I cut my hair, it felt like I was now stepping into a new kind of perspective, which ultimately is what happened. And I felt lighter. I then needed to decide who I am in this newness. I then needed to decide what I actually want my hair to look like. I then needed to decide if I even wanted it to grow back. I then needed to decide if really it meant what I thought it meant to me. So I felt very light. And in turn, that helped me regain consciousness within myself and bravery within my spirit. Yeah.
So did it mean what you thought it meant to you?
Yes, it always has.
Do you mind to dive deeper so that we're also able to know what this meaning actually was?
Yeah, man.
Prior and obviously after.
So obviously prior, like I said earlier on, like there was the whole idea around aesthetics. My mom wanted me to be a beautiful young girl. She wanted me to, just be rich in all ways. And I identified with my hair as an accessory of sorts, right? And I identified with the fact that, hey man, I could be dressed so beautifully, but if my hair is not done a particular way, then there's something missing. And now, after, I do realize that without my hair, or if my hair decides to move a certain direction, then it's indicating certain things in my life. And I'll give you a bit of an example. Just when my hair started growing, I decided that I was going to blow it out, blow out air relaxer. And every day, and my hairline started to recede. And the idea around that was because I wanted to appear a certain way to certain people who didn't know, my hair always needs to be done. But in the recession of my hairline, I didn't notice and realize that there was something innately within me that was just misaligned. Because back then, yes, the beauty of the hair was well taken care of, but in this sense, I was more fixated on the things outside than I was on the things inside. So because of that focus, the hairline was receding and I only got to see muriri wa shota when like now I'm getting bald patches. I want you to give me a moment because I need to explain this properly. You know, sometimes things make sense in your head, but when you have to explain them, you struggle to explain them. Okay, so yes, in the beginning, the idea was I recognized and I understood my hair as an accessory. It was an extension of who I am. And my mom made that quite known. I could look a certain way, but if my hair was not tied up a particular way, then there was something missing. Now, in turn, I think the idea is more of there is something missing, but you need to now look within in certain instances as opposed to when you were looking without. Though it is an accessory, there's many things I've been able to tell with my hair. A lot of the time when I'm going through spiritual turmoil, my hair will tell me. My hair would start to shed. My hair will stop growing as fast as it usually does. And then that's when I realize and understand that I need nourishment, not just in the hair, but in the roots as well. And of course, the roots being within myself. And I'll start to nourish with food. I'll start to nourish with obviously praying, reading the Bible, identifying further with myself. And now this accessory has now helped me identify with myself a whole lot better. So yes, it does hold the meaning. It just continues to transform over time, over the years. It is still an accessory, but it does help with my identity. It does help with understanding who I am. It does also help with, helping me nurture myself more and understanding my spiritual essence in a sense. And I would imagine that the question to follow would be, so what happens then if you chop your hair? How do you feel about yourself spiritually? And I'm like, then that means there's a transformation that needs to happen for me then spiritually in that sense.
Okay. Now, people, you've already told me how you obviously sort of looked at it as an extension of not just you, but also like beauty, so to speak, because of the link that society has when it comes to women, beauty, and hair, right?
Yeah.
When you did decide to chop it all off, would you say that it affected how others see you?
No. I don't think it affected how others saw me because of how I still carried myself without the hair. I think if I had felt like there was a loss, then that would have been what translated to other people. And maybe that's how then people would have in turn seen me. But because I still walked out loud, proud, feeling really good about myself, everybody also still felt like, oh my gosh, you look good in short hair, girl. So I think it all was dependent on me then again. So yeah.
And what message do you have for women who might be thinking of embracing a similar journey?
Do it. Do it. There's that quote that says a woman that cuts her hair is about to change her life forever, something like that. It's actually a very true statement, but also sort of dependent on how you feel about your hair, the sort of relationship you have with your hair. But I always encourage someone to do it. Do it because there's a newness that comes with shedding the hair off. There's a newness that comes with, just walking out bald. There's a newness that comes with seeing yourself bald, maybe for the first, third, fifth, eighth time. There's a transformation that just tends to happen, not just physically, but I think, innately as well. So do it.
So a lot of times, you'll hear women say when they did decide to go bold, whether it was brush cut or whatever the case might be, that they often needed something else to complement. So makeup, lashes, the works. Was this the same for you?
Yes and no. Yes, because I generally love makeup and I love all of that beautiful stuff. So I always felt like if I did have makeup on with my bald head, there was that bit of enhancement. There was that extra, bounce in my step. But it didn't change me in essence. But I will say no, because even without the makeup, even without all the added extras, I was still very confident enough to step outside, walk loud, tall, proud, and still feel like myself.
Where are you now in your hair journey? Not just in what it looks like, but how are you relating to it and how is it making you feel?
Sheesh, man. I love my hair so much, and I'm actually about to go for another chop. But there's a very beautiful relationship that I've built with my hair. I think I've learned to now know how to nurture it the same way my mom used to. I've learned to now know the sort of products that my hair needs. I've learned to now know that it's okay to wear your hair however you want to wear it. And I've learned to now know that you can do whatever you want with your hair, brah, and no one should be able to tell you anything. And you should feel confident whatever you decide to do with your hair. So this next chop is a bit of a different chop, quite nerve-wracking, but also quite exciting. But yeah, the relationship with my hair is a beautiful one. And I actually just can't wait to see how I'll transform with this new chop.
How is this new chop different?
So I'm not like completely removing my hair. There's just like a couple of different things that I'm going to be doing to my hair. And I think it's going to bring out a little bit of sass in me. So kind of excited about that.
And then to wrap up, so usually I would ask, some of the ladies, what would they say to the little version of themselves, right? But I'm going to take a different twist with you.
Okay.
So how men, particularly, not just society, they have an insane attachment to women having long hair, right? So much that, we've seen it in movies where a girl will have long hair and as soon as she chops it, her boyfriend has a problem, So I'm going to ask you, what message do you have for men when it comes to what women choose to do with their hair?
Oh man. A message to men when it comes to what women choose to do with their hair. Well, ordinarily I'd just say mind your business, but I want to give like a different sort of perspective. I'd actually like to ask men why it bothers you so much that women decide to do what they do with their hair. And if you really are bothered by it, then maybe take a moment to sit with yourself and ask why.
Okay, thank you so much for having a chat with us.
Thanks.